Hi, Nick Kelly here. We're going to look at a lesson on what I call modal alteration of a lick. Basically what this is let's say we have a lick, for example. Now, for those of you that saw the other lesson on moving a lick through a scale, you'll recognize this lick. It's based over an E minor 7, and it's basically the Dorian mode, the E Dorian mode. Okay? And it's a pretty cool lick, fairly straightforward. But what modal alteration of a lick does is it basically looks at all the intervals within a lick and adjusts them to suit a different mode. So what I mean by this is, if you look at an E Dorian mode, the intervals in an E Dorian mode are root, second, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. Okay, so let's just look in this lick here at what intervals are on each note. So this note here is basically the 5th. And the reason I know it's the 5th is because if we go up the E Dorian mode from E, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 5th. Okay, so this lick basically goes from the 5th to the minor 7, or the flat 7, then to the 6th. So 5th, flat 7, 6. Now, let's just imagine for a second if we wanted to change this lick intervallically to fit a Lydian mode. Well, the 5th is in the Lydian mode because the formula of Lydian mode is root, second, third, sharp 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this note is fine to stay, no problem. Okay, because it's the Lydian mode, we're going to play over a major 7 chord, an E major 7, as opposed to E minor 7 that we use with the Dorian. So E major 7 chord, and the lick can start on the same note. Okay, now this note here, this interval was a flat 7. Now there's no flat 7 interval in the Lydian mode, so therefore this note has to change. Okay, so we have to consider, well, if it's a flat 7 in Dorian, what is the 7 in Lydian? It's major 7. So in other words, the major 7 is not flattened. It will be here. So you get this. Okay, cool. Now the next interval in the lick was the 6th. Okay, now is there a 6th in the Lydian mode? Yes, there is. So this note can stay. So the only alteration we've made so far is to change the flat 7 into a major 7. Okay? Now we'll continue for the rest of the lick. The Dorian version was this. So what is this extra note here? What interval is that note? Well, look at the Dorian mode from E. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4th. Okay, so therefore this note, if you look in Lydian, Lydian has a sharp 4. So this note now has to be here. Okay, so now the Lydian version of the lick is going to be this, as opposed to the Dorian, which was. So if you just hear that over the relevant chords, the Dorian version of the lick over an E minor 7 chord, the Lydian version of the lick over an E major 7 chord. Okay, we continue through the lick. So just reiterate that note again. That's fine because it's the same. That interval can stay the same because it's the 5th. Both scales have a regular 5th. Okay, now in the original lick we went. Now what interval is this? It's a minor 3rd. Because Dorian has a minor 3rd. So that's a minor 3rd. So Lydian has a major third, so we want to shift this note up 1 half step. So we're going to get this, as opposed to this. Okay. Now the next note was this. What is this? It's a second. Now Dorian has a second, a regular major second, and so does Lydian. So this note can stay. So we got the Dorian version of the lick. Now the Lydian version. And now that last note can stay the same between both the licks because it's the root note of E. So once again. Okay, Dorian, Lydian. So you can repeat this same process with all your licks, so that if you've got, let's say, several licks in Dorian, all you would need to do to make them into Lydian is just identify the intervals within the lick and then alter them to fit the different mode. This obviously relies upon you knowing your interval formulas for all the various different modes. So definitely learn those, as it's extremely important to be able to apply this properly. Also, knowing the scale shapes is going to help you immensely. Otherwise, it's going to really make it a lot more difficult. So you want to know your Dorian scale shapes and your Lydian scale shapes and so on. And I could really apply this same principle to any mode. Let me just give you another example. I'm going to do the same lick, but now alter it to fit the Mixolydian mode. Now what I did there, the only difference between the Mixolydian mode and the Dorian mode, which is what the original lick was, is the third. Because Dorian has a root second minor third, 4th, 5th, 6th, flat 7. Mixolydian has a root second major third, 4th, 5th, 6th, flat 7. So they both have flat 7s, but one has a minor third while the other has a major third. So this lick had the minor third here. So the only interval that I needed to change was this. I need to make it into a major third. So, and put it over a dominant 7 chord. So now we got 3 versions of this lick, 3 modal versions of the lick. Dorian, Lydian, Mixolydian. So harmonically, you are really kind of getting to some real good stuff here. And if you kind of combine the other lesson of moving a lick diatonically through a scale with this principle that we just learned now, hopefully you can see how far you can take it. And yeah, remember to apply all this information. And good luck, and see you soon. Bye.